בוקר טוב וברכה רבותיי, בוקר טוב. בעזרת השם בזכות הצדיק רבי חיים פינטו, first of all, הקדוש ברוך הוא bless everyone, ברכה והצלחה, ונשייתא דשמיא גדולה, and we all let us come to a place of ישועות וברכות לאדם. Before we start the Dvar Torah, we would like to give a big mazal tov to the tzaddik Rabbi David and Karin, that Baruch Hashem last night they had a child, may הקדוש ברוך הוא בעצם ברכה והצלחה, ונשייתא דשמיא גדולה, and may בעזרת השם this child bring them בשפע ישועות לאדם, and כן יעצור בעזרת השם. You know, Rabbi, today is a very, very important day in the year. If we know, Rabbi, the value of what a person is capable of achieving in his life, just today, I think nobody would go to work, and we would all stay here in the Beit Knesset and do tefillah and make prayers like it was Yom Kippur. We know, Rabbi, today, we celebrate a Yom Tov. Chazal call it like a Yom Tov, which is the day of what? Tu B'Av. Every year when we come to this holiday of Tu B'Av, a lot of the people, we have this mistake on what really is Tu B'Av. Being that the only information that is necessarily a given is the fact that it's a day that people get married in, or people find their zivug in, which is really, Rabotai, completely not true. The day of Tu B'Av is a day of complete Kodesh Kodashim. And I would really like for all of us to leave here today and actually understand the value of what we are capable just by doing simple, small things today to change our life and to influence our life in a more positive manner. In Rabotai, there's a Gemara in Masechet Ta'anit, in page Kavav Amud Bet, that says, "Lo hayu yamim tovim leYisrael, ke-15 b'Av v'ki-Yom Kippur," where there the Gemara essentially announces that there isn't a day or days better for Am Yisrael in the entire year like Tu B'Av, the 15th of Av, and Yom Kippur. For years, when we thought about this Gemara, we were always amazed by this idea of what the Gemara was really telling us by saying such a sentence, where essentially the Gemara was claiming that Tu B'Av is bigger than all the other holidays. Bigger than Pesach, bigger than Purim, bigger than Shavuot, bigger than Chanukah, bigger than everything. Claiming that Lo hayu yamim tovim leYisrael, there's no better days than these 2 days. So always we were trying to understand what is so special about Tu B'Av that all the other holidays don't have, that makes Tu B'Av above them all. So in order to understand this, Rabbi, there's a beautiful Zohar teaching that teaches us when us as a nation in Bnei Israel, we have bracha. As we know, Rabbi, in life it's all about timing, it's all about tkufat. We need to understand when it's the right opportunities and when things are available in the world to act and to try to bring that opportunity to fruition. So Zohar Kadosh asked, when is the most optimal moment where a Jew has the most bracha possible? So Zohar Kadosh gives a beautiful teaching from where we get our bracha. We know about that our bracha passes a few different hands. It goes from HaKadosh Baruch Hu to the Shekhinah, and from the Shekhinah to us. So we can only obtain as much as the Shekhinah received from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So when are the moments that the Shekhinah is abundant in order for us to understand that now it's an opportunity to come forward and to try to achieve? Zohar Kadosh is very simple. Go outside, look in the sky, and you'll know exactly when. Why so? Because Zohar Kadosh says, we know that the sun represents HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and the moon represents the Shekhinah. Wherever the sun shines on the moon a lot of light, and the moon shines light back to us, depending on how much light the moon is able to reflect back to us, that's how you know how much bracha the Shekhinah has. And based off of that, you can ask and you can try to achieve. And that's how we can understand that in the beginning of every Jewish calendar month, the moon starts off very small. So it's not a good time to act. It's not a good time to try to achieve big bracha, being that the Shekhinah is not abundant. As the month goes along, you see the moon starts to fill up. When the moon in the middle of the month becomes completely full, that's when we know that the Shekhinah is abundant and it's our opportunity to act upon. Now that is why, Rabbi, most the holidays, especially based off miracles, always occurred 14th, 15th of the month. Such as Pesach, 14, 15, Purim, 14, 15, Sukkot, 14, 15, Tu B'Shvat, 14, 15. Why 15 always? Because 15 we have the most bracha. So it was always most likely for us to create a miracle or to have a miracle in the world, being that we are most optimal, being that the Shekhinah is completely full. The Zohar Kadosh gives a beautiful teaching about what is really the reason why we have such bracha on the 15th of the month. Zohar Kadosh says, it's not because the moon is full, or not because the Shekhinah is abundant, but rather, the Zohar Kadosh says, because the Shekhinah and because the moon, 15 days prior was broken. And the fact that it was broken and now it got refilled and came to a place of shlemut, of wholesomeness, the fact that it became whole after its falling, it's more valuable. Where the aliyah, the ascending after the yechidah is always bigger. Anytime a person has a fallout in his life, when he returns back to the height from where he fell off, he will always be further ahead, stronger, more blessed than where he started. Every aliyah after a yeridah is always more powerful. And Zohar even gives an analogy. He says it's like you have three kings. You have one king that started off as he was born to a family of kings, and he became a king. He had 1,000 men. You have another king that started off as a shepherd's son, and he rose to the top and he became a king. And he still also too has 1,000 soldiers. And then you have the third king that started off as a slave, an orphan. He had no home, he had no family. And he fought his way through until he became a king, and he has 1,000 soldiers. Who's most powerful? Who's most fearful? Who has the ability to conquer more than the other kings? So if you were to put them in an order, the king that was born into kingship, he didn't earn anything. He didn't do anything. He was born a king. He stayed a king. Zero. So the world will look at him, even if he has 1,000 soldiers, it's okay. He was born a king. The one who was a shepherd and earned it, they say, look, he's smart. He's strong. He somehow was able to get his way from a shepherd to a king. Of course he's more powerful, even if he has the same amount of men. And the one who started off as a slave, he's the most scary. Because he fought his way through obstacles that are nearly impossible. And he's still a king. Everybody feared the king, even if he had the same amount of soldiers that started off as a slave. Abotai, our bracha on the 15th of the month always stems from the fact that 15 days before we were very weak. We were small. We were emptied. And now that we came to a full place, we have a big abundance of bracha. So the question is, Abotai, if that's the case, why is Tu B'Av bigger than all the other 15th of the month? Why isn't every 15th of the month Lo Hayu Yamim Tovim LeYisrael? Why Tu B'Av is bigger than Tu B'Sivan or Tu B'Iyar or Tu in any other month? Why is Tu B'Av something so special and so unique? So now, we mentioned three kings. There's the king that started off as the son of a shepherd, the king that started off as a king, and the one that was a slave. Based off that analogy, we concluded that the further down you start, when you reach even to that same height, you're more valuable. And that, is the secret of this month. This month we started at the lowest place possible. This month, Rabotai, we had Tisha B'Av. We say, Kol asher yirdefu yisigoa. Anyone that tries to harm us just needs to act, and he harms us. We are so weak in the month of Av, in the beginning of the month of Av, that any small thing could destroy us. That's where we started from. This month, on the beginning of Av, the 9 days, Tisha B'Av, we started from the lowest place a Jew is in throughout the entire year. But now that we got to the 15th, now that we got to the place that we are once again full, we are once again complete, that wholesomeness is much more valuable. That wholesomeness is much more powerful. Shabbatai, today is not a day to just waste it and let it pass by. It's a day, Shabbatai, that we have koach. It's a day that we have power to change, to conquer, to ask, to influence. Shabbatai, we have power of tefillah like we don't have throughout the entire year. Let's take this opportunity. Let's look into our lives. Let's look into our world. Let's look into the life of the people around us. And let's all try with the power that we hold in Tu B'Av to make big change. In order that Be'ezrat Hashem for many years we will be able to Be'ezrat Hashem live b'simcha and yishua and b'sorot tovat. Be'ezrat Hashem HaKadosh Baruch Hu give everyone only yishuot brachot and Shabbat shel b'vrach. Amen.